Coming to Apple TV Plus on March 12th and directed by the Russo Brothers in their first feature ever since Avengers Endgame, starring Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland, this is my review of Cherry. We follow an army medic suffering from PTSD as he becomes a serial bank robber after an addiction to drugs puts him in major debt. Before I crack on my review, I want to know your thoughts. If you've seen Cherry, if you're excited for it, let me know all of that in comments below, as well as your favorite Russo-directed film and your favorite Tom Holland performance. And while you're heading down there, why don't you click that subscribe button, because it's looking into you, it's real pretty, and it's free. You would be supporting me and the channel. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more, make sure you click it. And if you want to support the channel even more, there's links from my merch stores at TeePublic and Redbubble as well in the description. So, very excited for this because, again, I love the Russo brothers and what they've done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and their direction in this is really well done. I think their direction in this film is extremely consistent throughout, and it grounds this story in a very gritty, raw reality. They clearly can direct actors, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but in general, this film just comes to life with the energy that they put into their direction helming this film. We are going to talk about problems that this film does have in a bit, but the direction is not one of them. Clearly, there was a clear path in their view, and they followed that throughout this film, and I think they did that brilliantly well. And as much as I like their direction throughout, I think this film's saving grace is none other than Tom Holland himself. He is playing on so many levels throughout this film, with the help of the direction by the Russo brothers, who really compel you to follow this character in his odyssey, because truly, that's what this is. It's a riveting odyssey that this character goes through. His performance is throughout mesmerizing because all the nuances that this character has to go through, the sadness, the happy moments, the addiction, the tension of having to rob banks, which honestly he doesn't really want to do, the fear surrounding his entire life, and the love of his life, Tom Holland plays this brilliantly well. We've seen him do stuff very well outside of Spider-Man, but I think this is him punching his ticket and calling everybody's attention to, I'm not just Spider-Man, and I think he does that really well. His performance really humanizes this character throughout, even when you're not supposed to like what he is doing or saying. As far as themes are concerned, the film is actually pretty rich in themes. I love how it is a story about addiction, redemption, and even desperation most times, but it's also a bit of a love story and the good and the bad that comes with it in the mix of everything else. It does feel like a mishmash at points, but that's a problem that we'll address in a bit. As far as the foundations of the story, I think they are truly, truly great. Unfortunately, the film doesn't end up being great as a whole because its issues lie elsewhere in the technical side. There's a lot to talk about. Let's start with the editing. Editing has a style to it. Editing isn't just cutting whenever a character finishes talking and cutting to another shot or vice versa. Editing has a deliberate pace to it, and this film feels frenetic at points. Sometimes it's a big action extravaganza. The editing is eccentric and exciting and fiery, and other times, just like that, it slows down. It becomes more methodical, introspective, and you want to get adjusted to these two styles, but then it changes again, and I think that really hurts the film because it not only hurts what you're trying to see and how you're trying to take in the story, but it also ruins the general pacing for the most part. Cinematography as well. There's a lot of really good cinematography in this film, do not get me wrong, but there's just so many uses of different lenses and try to transition scene to scene with so many different looks. Again, you constantly feel like you're trying to catch up to what they are conveying because they're changing so many styles so many freaking times. And those two things really get in the way of having you immerse into the story. Another big issue that this film has is in the writing, because the first 40 minutes of this film are really, really rough. I truly was going to quit on this film. Not that I was going to stop watching it, but I was going to quit trying to find things to like it. Until he actually goes to war. When Cherry goes to war, and that section of the film starts, from that point on until the ending, it truly becomes something worth watching and paying attention to. It's something that really actually has value, and you can see the passion and the talent behind and in front of the camera. But those first 40 minutes with the editing and cinematography that I already mentioned, but the writing as well. There are scenes in those first 40 minutes that you can just cut out and it would not make a difference. Cherry runs at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I feel that is completely unnecessary. Another problem with the writing, and if you follow me for a while, you've heard me complain about this in a lot of movies, is the inconsistent narration. The Russos use the technique to start the story out already as Cherry is robbing a bank, and he narrates some things to the audience. But then this happens 2 more times in the entire film that I can remember, and it doesn't really do anything for the film. It hurts it because it's there, but if you had cut it, it wouldn't make a difference whatsoever. The biggest problem with Cherry is that it feels like it's its own worst enemy. There are so many styles, all of them good, but they don't mix together. It makes it feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, or they wanted to try and experiment with a lot of things, and sometimes that really doesn't work and ends up hurting the film that I ended up enjoying for the most part, but those problems really are riddled throughout. If not for the consistently solid direction by the Russos, the wonderful score by Henry Jackman that I forgot to mention that is brilliant, and the mesmerizing performance by Tom Holland that keep this movie afloat, I don't know how I would have felt. The problems are there, but the talent is as well. I'm giving Cherry a C. So it ends up being middle of the road for me, unfortunately, but I can see other people enjoying it, and I hope you love it. So let me know if you do in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you haven't done so yet, you've watched this far, why not click that subscribe button, because it really helps me out. It helps the channel. You really be supporting me, and it means the world. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more reviews, trailer reactions, the podcasts, and all that sorts of good stuff. I hope to see you there. And so until then, love each other and love the movies.